Hey everyone, Brendan Sander here. How are you? Thanks so much for joining me, and welcome to another episode of New Music Finds, where I like to collect together all the different things that I've purchased over the past week, present it to you guys, give you a little bit of background on it. I've got 12 things to run through with you guys, 11 CDs, one box set. We'll do that here in just a bit, but before we get started, if you're new to my channel and you haven't already hit the subscribe button, please do. Also leave a comment, hit like, all those things help support my channel. I'd greatly appreciate it. And of course, as an added bonus, if you turn on notifications, you're going to stay up to date on everything going on in the world of music, just like this, with new music finds, finding about cool things that I've picked up that maybe you want to pick up too. All right, so we're going to dive into new releases that just came out this past week. First one up was a major one for me, the new Leppard box set for Pyromania, their third studio album. Such a great album in and of itself. I'm glad to see it's finally getting a box set treatment. We've had the 30th anniversary of Hysteria for so long, but they never did one for this. We had a 25th anniversary, so I guess that's maybe why. But wasn't really, it was only a 2 CD set. Now we're getting a 4 CD, 1 Blu-ray box. That being said, there's cool stuff on here, but I do think that it's really only for the diehards. There's 6 untitled demos, but they're very short. Really cool to hear, but they're very short, so it's not full tracks. There's no vocals to it. There's one outtake that is fully realized called No You Can't Do That, which is awesome, but no vocals on it. Then there's some demos from the album, and there's some rough mixes, and that disc is an outtakes, demos, and rarities collection. For me, at least, that makes this box set worthwhile. There's also 2 live shows included on here, one from Germany and one from the LA Forum. That LA Forum show has already been released as part of the 25th anniversary edition and in the CD collection volume 1 box. So it's been released twice before. This is the 3rd time it's getting packaged in here. And I am glad when they put it all together into one sort of super deluxe thing like this, and you get it in one place instead of leaving stuff out. But at the same time, I've had to buy it 2 times previously, and I'm paying for it again. And essentially, I'm paying for the album Pyromania and that live album at the LA Forum. So those 2 things, no real interest in, because I've already got them. But the rarities disc, the live in Germany, and then I'm not really interested in the Blu-ray either, so I'm kind of paying for 2 discs that are in here. Very cool book that goes with this thing. Have done the full review of it. I'm going to leave a link in the description in case you want to see a longer, more detailed explanation of what this box set's all about. So that came out. That was very cool. There's a 2 CD edition of that if you don't want to shell out for the whole thing like I did. One of the other things that came out was Neil Young and Crazy Horse called Effin' Up. So this is just simply a re-recording of the Ragged Glory album from 1990. And I didn't really know that going into it. I had heard it was Crazy Horse running through some of their songs. Then I found out that it was a live recording at a private party or something, and they played the whole album Ragged Glory, and that's what this is. And maybe they talked about it more, but when the initial press release came out, it didn't say that, and I didn't really follow up too much on it. But had I simply known it was just Ragged Glory re-recorded live with a little bit of background noise in it, sort of a thing, it's very raw, a little bit sloppy. It's honestly not that good in my opinion, and I love Ragged Glory. It's my favorite Neil Young album, so I'm kind of disappointed with it. Kind of hoping it grows on me in time, that I sort of feel the energy out of it or something to that nature that sort of turns it around. But at least upon first couple listens, this isn't doing it for me. But then that's Neil for you. You never know what you're going to get. Sometimes the stuff is spot on. Sometimes it's over the moon. Sometimes the stuff is just a big, big misfire. And he's had a few of those in his career. I don't think this one is a big misfire. It's just not my cup of tea, though. So check it out before you pick it up in case it maybe isn't for you either. One that is or was for me is this one. New Billy Idol Rebel Yell Deluxe Edition 2 CD set. And another classic case that I don't really need another version of the album Rebel Yell, but the double disc that's in here is so good. It's got 2 outtakes that never made the album, so 2 Rebel Yell era songs that sound phenomenal, finally seeing the light of day. Then you get some, well, I think they're just referred to as demo versions of songs, but they're so different than the ones that appear on the album that it's almost like listening to them for the first time again. And I love that about this. And then you get a whole bunch of other demos, and some of those become closer to what the versions are on the album. But I will say this second disc in here, it kicks off with those 2 unreleased songs, and then it does, demo versions of the whole album. And it's just really good. It is like hearing Rebel Yell for the first time again. Plus the mastering of the remastering of the actual album Rebel Yell's done really well. So all in all, this one here, highly recommended if you are a fan of Billy Idol and love this album. You can get some more classic stuff from that same time frame. All right, then we had a brand new one from Accept called Humanoid. This one here, can't quite remember which album number it is. I think it's like 15 or something. I mean, they've been kicking around forever. Wolf Hoffman, the guitar player, is the only original guy left. We still have Mark Tornillo, who came in, took over for Udo Dirk Schneider on vocals, but everyone else in there is new. Peter Baltz, the bassist, had recently left. He actually joined up with Udo. Stefan Kaufman had already left Accept and joined up with Udo. So the funny thing is, we got 3 guys over in Udo that are all former Accept members, and only 1 original Accept member left in the band itself. Still good stuff. If you liked the last album, Too Mean to Die, this is a lot in that same vein. I think that album was really good. After a couple albums that I didn't feel so connected to, Too Mean to Die was really good. I thought they finally hit one out of the gate there in 2021, and I think they've done it again with this one here, so I've been enjoying that. And then we got Prague Rock supergroup 6x6 releasing their second album, which is called Beyond Shadowland. And it's made up of Robert Berry, who is on vocals and bass, played in a band called 3 with Keith Emerson and Carl Palmer. Did a number of other things. He was actually part of the band GTR guitar with Steve Hackett and Steve Howe. Towards the end, they never made that second album, which he would have been on. We've also got Ian Crichton on guitar from Saga, and Nigel Glockler on drums from Saxon, making for a very cool lineup. I really enjoyed the first album. I'm only just starting to devour this, but I am enjoying what I'm hearing so far. And staying on that whole prog rock vein is one that came out the previous week, and it was something I discovered through the What Just Dropped series that I put together, the new releases that come out. And I went ahead and I gave it a listen only because I had heard the name of the band around a number of times and really, really sort of fell in love with it. So I ordered it and got a copy of it. Vanden PL, so a German progressive metal band, and this album here, which is called The Emperor Equation on the Long Lost Things. Not exactly sure what that means, but cool title, cool progressive rock title. And I just have to say, I mean, the music on here is really good. The guitar player impressed me. As far as I know, none of the members, well, I won't say they didn't come from anywhere, so they just weren't anyone that I recognized from something else. They may well have all done other things, but it wasn't as though I recognized any named person and chose to pick it up based on that the way I sometimes do. It was just good music. I heard it and decided, hey, I want to have it in the collection. So that's one that I've really been enjoying. And if you're a fan of progressive metal, I would recommend checking out Vanden PL if you never have. Okay. All right, so I also picked up some other things that I call, catalog albums, stuff that is not new releases, been around for maybe a long time, like this one here, picked up off of eBay. Winter's Bane, their one and only album, so debut. This one is called Heart of a Killer. And of course, the reason I'm picking this up is right there for that guy, Tim Ripper Owens. This album came out in 1993. He would go on to front Judas Priest. I've had this as sort of an anthology package that they put out after he had become famous from joining Judas Priest. But I wanted to get the actual original album with the original album cover, just standalone tracks, nothing bonus or added to it in that sense. And so I finally decided to break down, buy one through eBay, and now I can enjoy this in a much more pure fashion, at least in my mind anyways. Huge Tim Owens fan, so really glad that I've got this. This is, well, as I said, I had it in the anthology, but sort of the last thing by him that I didn't have an original copy of. And it's just one of those completist things in me that I needed to pick that up. So I added that. And then I was listening to Unruly Child because I had talked about in the What Just Dropped series the band Stone Fury, which has Bruce Gowdy on guitar, who then went on to Unruly Child. So I decided to pick up one of their newer albums. This is after they got back together. And we've still got Bruce Gowdy on guitar, and we've got one of the other guys, I don't know if he was the bassist or guitarist or who, Guy Allison, and then we have Marcy Free, who used to be Mark Free, who is now a woman, changed her name, I guess we'll call it, to Marcy Free. And that has sort of kept me away from it, all in all, just not knowing what I was going to hear. And I decided to go ahead and give it a chance. I really wanted to hear the music from Bruce Gowdy and what he was doing. And I got to say, can't really tell the difference in his vocal style from when he was Mark versus becoming Marcy. So I guess all of that change didn't affect the vocal as much as I thought it might. This is Big Blue World. And yeah, really enjoying this. So there's a couple more. I think there's 2 more albums that they have since put out as the reformed version of Unruly Child. May pick those up in time, but found that one when I was at my local record store Sound Exchange and have been enjoying that. And in past weeks, I think I picked up something new from Chicago the last 2 weeks in a row. Well, I got Chicago 16. I had to order this one from Japan. Domestically, at least here in the US, it's out of print. So this one here is part of their 82 to 89, the big heyday era. This one here has the song Hard to Say I'm Sorry that was a really big hit. But I found that I really enjoyed the rest of this album far more. This is where they were still the horn band and the horns were up front for the band. They hadn't taken the back seat the way they had in the later part of the 80s. And while I enjoyed that stuff from the 80s, and that's what really got me in, I was still able to very much enjoy this album. So this one here, I've been enjoying quite a bit and kind of hoping that it leads me back further into the 70s era of the band. Whereas that kind of music, every time I've tried one of those albums, it doesn't really do it for me. It's a little too jazzy, I guess, bluesy jazzy. I don't know what to call it really, but it's just not full on rock enough for me. And this one here, I'm kind of hoping it sort of bridges that gap. And again, at some point, my tastes are always changing. I used to never be a Chicago fan. Then I got into some of their stuff. And, again, you never know where your tastes or your mind or experiences are going to take you. And so, hey, I'm traveling down the Chicago road at this moment. And then last week during Record Store Day, I picked up sort of on a whim, an impulse buy, really, the Yardbirds Psycho Daisies B-Sides collection of their US and UK singles, the B-Sides from those. And I just like rarities type compilations and collections and stuff. And so I bought it really for that. And it turned out to be one of my favorite things that I picked up. I was really surprised by how much I had enjoyed it. The Yardbirds have never really clicked with me. And I had a Yardbirds best of in my collection, something that I had tried to get into, but it, like I said, didn't really click with me. Well, that B-Sides collection did, so I dug out the best of, and then suddenly I really liked that. So when I went down to Sound Exchange, I picked up a bunch more Yardbird stuff. Got this one here. It's called Little Games. This is the one with Jimmy Page. And I got to say, I hear a lot of the Led Zeppelin guitar playing style in this that for some reason I never really heard before. Of course, I still hear some of the Yardbird stuff or the stuff that really kind of had turned me off from it when I first was trying to get into it as a Led Zeppelin fan, and that didn't work. Now, I happen to really enjoy the 60s era sound of the Yardbirds, so I can enjoy that part too, but hear it for what it also is, which is a precursor to Led Zeppelin. So that was cool. Also picked up the self-titled or Roger the Engineer. This one has Jeff Beck on it. And with the, there is a new 4 CD BBC session. So it's supposed to be like the ultimate collection that gathers everything up. It's the most comprehensive collection they've ever done of their BBC recordings, coming out some point in May. Don't remember the exact date. I had that on the mind, and I found a single disc BBC collection put out by Warner Archives. And you know me and having a single disc collection of something, so I thought I'd give this a shot, and very much enjoyed that because for the most part, BBC sessions are not recorded live in front of audiences. They're just live in the studio setting, and you can often get a more revved up, rockin' version of something that way than the way songs were recorded in the studio at the time, where everything was kind of balanced and even and in its place before they really figured out how to capture that live sound on an album. And so there you go. Those are the 12 things that I picked up this past week. A lot of cool stuff, a lot of variety in it. And I hope that, maybe that gives you guys some ideas of things to go out and pick up or go pull off of your CD shelf, and you can explore what it is that I'm currently listening to. And maybe that'll take you off into a tangent too. All right, everyone, take care. Have a good one. And I'll talk to you real soon. Bye-bye.